Welcome back to the Berg Podcast. This is Brian, and with me today is Decker.
Hey, how's it going?
And Decker's been with us just over a year now, and we thought it'd be a good opportunity to get him here in the hot seat and tell the folks a little bit about who Decker is. So Decker, who's actually not a Decker, he's an Andrew, right?
Yeah, Andrew Decker, Dupat, go by the middle name.
Yeah, which definitely threw me off the first time I realized Decker wasn't your first name. Is a controller here for Berg Construction and controller, but through a little bit of a different path, right? So you, prior to being here at Berg Construction, you were actually with a
Home 365, a property management group. I kind of oversaw the accounting department with Home 365. Yep.
Yeah, cool. Did you go to school for accounting?
No, my degree is in international economics with a focus on quantitative research methods.
Whoa.
Yeah, so numbers, a lot of numbers, trying to take a lot of numbers and make them make sense.
Okay.
That's kind of my focus, yeah.
Quantitative research methods. So like what kind of classes did you have to take for that?
I kind of spread it across and actually kind of made my own focus within the economics major. So I took some sociology research classes, some political science, economics, obviously, and some statistic courses to pretty much just kind of learn what's the best way to gather a bunch of information in a fair, unbiased way, and then share the results, again, trying to eliminate bias and just let the numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah. And one of the cool things about our job, in some ways, is we just sort of like accumulate the data, right?
Yeah, you guys, that's one thing since starting here is there's a lot of data, whether it's from equipment, whether it's from dollars, man hours, there's a lot of, countable items, I guess we'll say, and ways to measure things here for sure.
Yeah. And part of your role is trying to help us make sense of it.
Yeah. So, we worked with moving towards foundations for an accounting software, for that main reason. I think it gives us a good grasp on reporting, understanding the numbers, and try to help us make the best decisions we can with those numbers. And yeah, it's definitely kind of steering this, big cloud of numbers into a direction where someone can actually understand why or something happened or what happened.
Yeah. So back up for a second. So actually on a recent podcast, Ford and I had the chance to talk a little bit about technology, and a lot of folks don't think about the construction industry being technology driven, but actually one of the main roles or reasons that we brought you here, we sought out your position in general, was a technology shift, right? So we had been using a different accounting software for a long time. We had sort of reached the capacity of what it was capable of doing. But I knew that changing accounting softwares, not only was it just an enormous task in general, but I knew it was likely too much at the time to do with my current personnel. They're awesome. They do their jobs really well. But neither of them come from an accounting background either. And so making the change from general accounting, really user-friendly system to a more ledger-based system was going to be a big burden for them. So I was uncomfortable making that leap until we brought someone like yourself on board, and then essentially immediately threw you into the fire, right? I mean...
Yeah, I didn't really know. I think we're still trying to figure out now that we're through it, what exactly does my day-to-day consistently look like? We're still dealing and putting on Band-Aids on foundation and trying to make sure we understand and utilize it to its highest capabilities. But yeah, that was definitely my first probably whole year really was picking foundations over some other competitors and trying to get it to a place where I think we're pretty comfortable with now.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to take a step back and be like, okay, so now you have all of our data. It's all in there. Let's start doing some reports, start analyzing some things and start to really crunch the numbers and see where, shine lights on all the areas that the previous software wasn't really able to.
Yeah. So And for a lot of our guys in the field, they don't deal with foundation at all, but they deal primarily with an HCSS product called Heavy Job, right? And one of our issues for a really long time was, how do we get that real field data into a usable format for accounting purposes, right?
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, I was amazed by how much technology is in this field. Just, probably from me being naive and ignorant to the dirt industry and excavation. But there's, the guys are putting in their hours, they're putting them to cost codes. They're creating a lot of data, whether they know it or not. And there's a lot of good usable data. So being able to transform what the guys are reporting, doing in the field, and, make sense to us who are sitting here in the office, being able to report on 5, 6, 7, a dozen job sites at once, just because now we have that link from what the guys are putting in, seeing, and doing in the field to us being able here to kind of take a look at the numbers and be able to assess. I think it's huge. I think, with the size of our company and kind of the flexibility that I've learned that we run at, I think it's going to make us a lot better, just because we're able to analyze a little bit faster and make smarter, quicker decisions than what the previous accounting software was really letting us do.
Yeah, for sure. So have you always been a numbers guy? Is this something you kind of grew into?
Always. My mom calls me the human calculator head. I'm mental math, addition, all that stuff. I would say I'm pretty far above average. Definitely have met people who are better than me, but yeah, adding numbers and things like that has just always been kind of my MO for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And when did you figure that out? Like, where was it at a very young age?
Very young age.
Yeah.
I was, we used to do these things called math minutes in elementary school. And you're supposed to, it was a race to maybe see if you could do all of these addition, multiplication, whatever they could in a minute. And I was finishing them in about 40 seconds when maybe 2 other kids in the class would finish at all.
Right.
So yeah, it's just something that has always come easy to me. Maybe to a fault at points where I just try to find trends and look at numbers and make them make sense when there's no, like, I have an issue of driving past, like when I was young, bored in the car, we drive past an address, right? 4 digits. I try and find a way to like make an equation. So if it was like, the house number was 4208, like 4 times 2 plus 0 equals 8. And yeah, so if that shows kind of my tie to numbers, that's from 6-hour car rides. You're
always trying to find patterns.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right. Makes sense. Maybe even when no pattern exists.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I've been known to hyperanalyze things, but not quite like that. I don't know if
it's just for fun. I don't know why. I like the rules of math. They're always, you can't really break them, but how can you use them creatively to come up with a solution is fun to me.
Sure.
So,
yeah. You know what? One of the things that I always liked about math is there's always an answer.
Yes.
Right. And that's not always true for some more subjective things. So
pretty much the rest of life. Yeah. I wish, I wish it was a little bit more cut and dry that way sometimes. But yeah, I think that's part of the reason why I like it too, is there's a definitive answer. We just got to figure our way to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You always from the area?
Yep, born and raised in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Now live in Berks County, a little bit outside of the city of Reading and Wyomissing. Yeah. But yeah, been a central PA guy for my whole life.
Yeah. So you and I met actually through totally unrelated work circumstances through lacrosse, right? So tell me a little bit. Outside of work, I know you enjoy lacrosse, but where did that start?
Yeah, I started playing lacrosse in 2nd grade. My parents actually signed me up a year early, just because I was not a baseball guy. Baseball was not fast enough for me. So I played lacrosse early. I played 2nd grade through college, and now met you through coaching. Kind of tried to step away from the sport, but I'm a pretty competitive person. So I just needed to keep that competitive outlet to make me bearable to other people around me, because otherwise I'll try to make a game out of who can put the groceries away the fastest, or, whatever it is. Not always the most fun person to be around with before that. But yeah, now entering my 2nd year as the head coach at Twin Valley High School, which is, our local high school to the office here, about 10 minutes down the road, which is pretty awesome. And kind of ingraining myself more into, the Morgantown, Twin Valley area, Burke Construction, this whole region and community a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. You said it makes you a little more tolerable to be around so that you're not competing about putting groceries away. That's probably a little sigh of relief to your now wife, recently married.
Yeah, just about 10 days now. Yeah, a
Wow.
week from last Sunday. Yeah, so definitely a newlywed.
10 days into being married, and it's bliss, right?
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Things have been pretty good.
Awesome.
No, it's been great. We were together for a long time before I
Right.
finally mustered up the courage. So we know each other at this point. So there's no
Which is great.
yes. So there's no big changes. Hopefully, now that we're have made it official.
Yeah, good. That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about who you are away from work. So I know lacrosse. I know you grew up in the area, but who is Decker?
Yeah. As you know, coaching high school lacrosse can take as much time as you want it to take. I'd like it to take a lot of my time. So not only do I coach for the high school, I also coach a local travel team in the Berks County area.
Yep.
But outside of lacrosse, my now beautiful wife, I like to go to concerts, hang out. Going back to being a Central PA guy, I have had the same close friends since elementary school. And I'm the only one that's still here. So sometimes that means traveling a little bit more to go see my buddies. But I'm a friends and family take up the rest of my time, I would say, outside of lacrosse and
Very cool.
being here.
Any upcoming concert plans?
No, unfortunately, the wedding kind of has been a big thing on
Sure.
the calendar this summer.
Well, that's fair. Yeah.
So
It's supposed to be a big thing, so that's all right that it was.
Yes. So I haven't looked too far ahead, but we actually have a free weekend coming up this weekend, and I'm kind of scrambling to maybe find something and
Nice. Okay.
get to a show. So
There you go. Good. I think you told me growing up you participated in a lot of bicycle racing or like support, right? Not the actual racing.
yeah, so my dad, when I was growing up, was a big racer, and that's where, if I didn't have a sporting event, that's where we were on Saturday and Sundays, was at a bike race. And then my dad had a pretty bad crash, which prevented him from racing anymore. So then he turned into a race promoter and race official. So just pretty much being a bike race has continued the rest of the way. I never got into the racing. I'm a bigger guy, so good cyclists are usually small and quick. I don't really fit that build. So once kid races ended and you had to become a junior racer and start, not just doing 100-meter sprints, I was like, I'll tap out.
Yeah.
This is a little too long for me. So still avid fan. Tour de France is going on right now, which,
cool.
It was always a big, when I was a kid, summer vacation, wake up, watch the tour in the morning with my dad, and then we'd do something else the rest of the day. But month of July, it's Tour de France time for sure.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
You still follow it? Pay attention to it?
Yes. So I watched all the stages over vacation here, and I'll be watching the replay this evening tonight.
Awesome. That's one thing I have never really gotten into or understood. It's all time based, right?
Yes.
Essentially.
Yep. So the yellow jersey, the coveted, winner of the whole thing, is the lowest accumulated time over the 20 or so stages they'll compete throughout all of July, all over France and Europe. So they'll go through the Pyrenees, mountain range of Pyrenees, and southern France to the Alps and northern France, and ride all around the flat parts in the middle of the country as well, to kind of take them all over the country. And whoever is completed all the 20 or so stages in the shortest amount of time wins.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so no immediate concert plans. What else should we know about Decker?
Cross is picking right back up. I'm sure too. Fall ball's right around the corner.
There's no big off season, that's for sure. That feels like we go right from one season to the next. The spring season, if you do well, doesn't give you any break going into the summer season.
It's always the goal. The smaller the break, the better.
The smaller the break, the better you did in the spring, and then the summer break usually comes pretty soon, right? I know our club team, we're wrapping up our last tournament this coming weekend, and I think yours is as well.
We are Thursday and Friday.
Yeah,
this week.
Okay.
So we'll be done after that. But
Yeah.
the following week I start summer OTAs with my guys, so
Yeah.
we'll be going 1 to 2 times.
You help
a
with
week.
like tryouts or anything like that at your club?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Is that in the next couple of weeks? That's usually ours is like almost right after.
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks, the end of the month.
Yeah.
But yeah, I typically help pick goalies. That's kind of my job.
Yeah. Nice. And then fall ball and fall practices pick right up, and feels like we go from saying, "Hey guys, only 6 months" to "Hey guys, we're out of time."
Yeah, it's one of those things you say every year how quickly it comes, and it still shocks you every year how quickly it comes.
Yeah.
You know it's coming, still catches you by surprise.
Yeah. Actually, my wife and I just had this conversation over the weekend. So my oldest, Aiden, you know Aiden pretty well. Excuse me, not my oldest, my middle child, Aiden, who you also know my oldest. But anyways, so this will be his last summer playing summer lacrosse, and so we kind of were like, oh man, 2 practices left, a tournament left, summer lacrosse is over. And my wife was kind of like, yeah, what are we gonna do? And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, I'll still be coaching. She's like, oh, you're gonna coach anyways? I'm like, well, I just like doing it. Like,
it's talking to you. We talk in the office about it a good bit. It's just the gamemanship. It's lacrosse is not an old man sport. I think playing after college, you kind of got to know that you're going to have some bumps and bruises come Monday if you play on the weekend. So for me, I'm no longer interested in that. I played goalie, which was getting a hard white ball shot at me at 90 miles an hour. I'm done with that part of my life at this point. So I like to stay on the sidelines, and it's the best way I've found to be a part of that whole athletic and competitive just environment. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, for me, I always considered when I was younger being a teacher, and I decided that was not the right path for me. But I still think that this kind of like scratches that itch a little bit. I love the competitiveness. I love sports in general, and coaching kind of scratches that teaching, mentoring itch for me. So
yeah, it's always the best when there will be a couple kids every year that they might not be the best players on your team or whatever it may be, but a couple of guys, for whatever reason, the growth you see from them throughout the season is what makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
I think I was telling you, I took my junior varsity guys out to a tournament, and we played a bunch of junior varsity teams, and like that was probably just as satisfying, or maybe not quite, but up there as satisfying as getting a district playoff win. It was just one of those days where it's just fun to be around a group of guys playing lacrosse, everyone's smiling, having a good time. It's no place I'd rather be.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone's there because they want to be there, especially in those like tournament type situations. Right. So yeah, which is fun. Yeah. Cool. Well, I don't know. I think that's a good spot. Oh, is there anything about coming to the construction industry that has surprised you? You really had no construction background whatsoever.
Zero.
Yeah. Right.
None at all. I think the technology is actually what really, really impresses me. Talking, to some of the guys around here about the equipment and the machinery, and the data it's able to put out is really impressive. Right. And yeah, I think just how, and maybe it's just us here, but I've been really impressed with how like technology forward things have seemed to be. The other thing that surprised me is the amount of paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork to go and do a project.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe that was, again, naive of me, but that was something that the structure and format of everything is very precise, which I would not have guessed.
It's interesting that you say that, because construction in general gets like a reputation, right, for not being a place where like you've got to think, right, or not being a place that's forward with technology, et cetera. We talk about this on the podcast from time to time. One of our struggles at times is recruiting young people, because for a long time, moms and dads everywhere have said, you want to go to college because you don't want to be a construction worker, right? Or you want to go get a degree because you don't want to be that guy standing on the side of the road holding a sign, or whatever the case may be. And people oftentimes people outside of the construction industry don't realize how much thinking and intelligence and precision and detail oriented our nature our people need to be. And you take the that component on top of some of the grittiness and resilience that it takes to be in the industry, and it's a really special breed of people that do this well. So.
Yeah, I'd absolutely put my hand up to be in that group that you talked about. But, I think part of it is you drive past, you drive down the road. Oh, look, there's an empty lot. And then all of a sudden there's a building there. And you're like, okay, now there's a building there. You kind of, once you get in and you realize like, oh no, like you have to measure the size of the pad you're putting in or all that stuff. It makes sense that it is a complicated and intense field.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, just kind of take it for granted or don't put in the little bit of thought to think like, at the end of the day, that's a building that's standing 40 feet tall and can weather all storms, or, a landfill that is taking in the waste for a community how large. It all makes sense once you take a second to think about it. But I think a lot of people don't just take the time to actually understand how complicated and in depth it can really be.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good one. So cool. Well, that's a good place to wrap it up. Decker, thanks for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And folks, I hope you got something from this and you come back for another episode.